Hey community, it's Pastor Brett with today's daily Bible reading. I encourage you to follow along, findcommunity.com/Bible reading. You can opt in to get these videos and our passages delivered to your inbox every single morning. Today we are looking at a Psalm of David, Psalm 86. And David wrote this Psalm in a time of trouble. He had been pursued by people he calls evil and wicked men. And so he asked God to intervene. He asks God to act, and he reminds God, as if God needs reminding, of God's own character, of his faithfulness, of his goodness, of his sovereignty. But what I find really interesting about this psalm is that in doing so, David he looks back at the language of the Exodus. He looks back at some words that we see in Exodus 34. So before we read Psalm 86. Let me read this from Exodus 34, verse 6. The Lord, the compassionate and gracious God, slow to anger and abounding in loving faithfulness, maintaining love to the 1,000 and forgiving wickedness and rebellion and sin, and yet he does not leave the guilty unpunished. I think you're going to hear some of that language echoed in Psalm 86. See if you don't pick it up as we read Psalm 86 together. This is David, and I think you will hear some echoes from Exodus 34. Hear me, Lord, and answer me, for I am poor and needy. Guard my life, for I am faithful to you. Save your servant who trusts in you. You are my God. Have mercy on me, Lord, for I call to you all day long. Bring joy to your servant, Lord, for I put my trust in you. You, Lord, are forgiving and good, abounding in love to all who call to you. Hear my prayer, Lord. Listen to my cry for mercy. For I am in distress. I call to you because you answer me. Among the gods, there is none like you, Lord. No deed can compare with yours. All the nations you have made and will come and worship before you, Lord. They will bring glory to your name, for you are great and do marvelous deeds. You alone are God. Teach me your ways, Lord, that I might rely on your faithfulness. Give me an undivided heart that I might fear your name. I will praise you, Lord my God, with all my heart, and I will glorify your name forever. For great is your love towards me, and you have delivered me from the depths, from the realm of the dead. Here, David, in a precarious situation, when he is being attacked, he clings to and calls out to God. The word that comes to my mind as I read Psalm 86 is dependence. Right? David isn't waiting for hard times to know who God is or to call out to God. We can hear it in his language here. He is one who has developed a lifestyle of dependence, of trust, of faithfulness to the one who was first faithful to him. And so when the hard times do come, David can say, look, God, I know who you are. You've proven yourself over and over and over again to me. And then, of course, he echoes here the language from Exodus 34. He learns from those heroes of the faith that have gone before. And he learns about their testimony of God's faithfulness, their testimony of God's goodness, their testimony of God's sovereignty, their testimonies of how God showed up in the midst of their adversity. And David said, yes, that, Lord, that's what I'm asking for here. What about us? What about you and me on both of those counts? Are we developing an orientation, a disposition of dependence on God, not just when things go bad, but all the time? That is, this idea of dependence, it goes against our sense of independence that we cultivate, right? We're about to celebrate Independence Day as a nation, and we value our own independence, both as a government as well as individuals. But Scripture actually holds something up greater than our independence, and that is our dependence on the Lord, to know that He is the one that I get life from, that He is my sustenance, that He is my all in all. I don't just call to Him in times of trouble, but we want to develop a lifestyle of dependence, or a lifestyle, maybe we could even say, of surrender. And that's a powerful word. And yeah, it may kick against our instincts as Americans or Westerners, but when we understand surrender in the biblical context, when we develop that as a lifestyle, we are going to be 90% of the way when those hard times already come. We're going to be 90% of the way of already having developed that heart to trust in God when those hard times come. And again, the other question is are we learning from those who've come before us? First and foremost, in Scripture, are we learning what David did? Are we learning what Moses did? Where did Noah go? What did Peter and Paul, where did they turn when hard times came? We should learn from their witness, but we should also learn from the witness of some mature saints in your life right now who are around you. We should always have someone that we are looking up to in their faith journey and learning from. No matter if you're 4 or 40 or 80, there should be living saints that we are growing and learning from their testimony at any given time. Now, if you look to me, I'm not going to always get it right. And if you look to any other human, they're not going to always get it right. In fact, if you look to Scripture, outside of the person of Jesus, there's no other person in here who always gets it right. But hopefully you'll see a testimony through their life, even in their mistakes, even when they aren't faithful. They begin to recognize, God, you are the one who is faithful. You are the one that I am dependent on, and therefore you are the one I will surrender to. I hope this encourages you today. I hope you're not going through trouble. I hope you're not going through a hard time. But if you're not going through it now, you will at some point. Give it days, give it weeks, give it months, give it years. But we all have those valleys that we go through. And so begin now. Prepare now by cultivating that attitude, that heart of surrender, of ongoing dependence, and from learning from those around you, and ultimately the testimony of Scripture. That when times get tough, we look to God. When times get tough, we remind ourselves, and those around us remind us of His character and His goodness, His sovereignty, and His faithfulness. Community, I hope that encourages you. And I know I hear these words and I say, man, I need to work on cultivating that heart, that lifestyle of surrender. Will you join me this week, today? All right, guys, God bless, and look forward to connecting with you real soon.